It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Charters family.
Hi, I'm Rich Charters.
And I'm Jenny Charters.
And today we're going to talk about a little game called
Hey, That's My Fish.
Hey, That's My Fish. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, and it's for ages 8 and up. It says it takes 20 minutes. That plus, I guess, setup. They say the setup is pretty long for this game, but I don't really find it too long. If everyone helps, you just throw the tiles together and it works pretty well. Before we play, let's explain the rules, shall we?
Yep.
We took a minute and wrote out some of the rules so we could explain them a little bit easier. And matter of fact, let me just show one thing, these tiles real quick. Can you see those, Jen?
Yep.
So that's, some of the tiles have 1 fish, some of the tiles have 2 fish, and some of the tiles have 3 fish. And the object is to get as many fish as you can. So you try to jump on the tiles that have the most fish. That's how you claim them. But let's talk about the setup. Can you see this, Jen?
Yep.
Okay. The setup is very simple. You put the tiles in the rough shape of a square, but really any shape will work. It just matters that they're all out there because you all see the board together. And then every time you'll use 8 or 9 penguins. In a 2-player game like we're going to play, we'll each have 4 penguins. In a 3-player game, it's 3 each. In a 4-player game, it's 2 penguins each. That way, it's kind of scalable. It's about the same level of crowdedness depending on, or regardless of how many players you have. And so that's kind of nice. The youngest player goes first, and then you take your turns placing penguins. And the only rule on the placement is everybody places 1 penguin at a time, and where you place it has to only have 1 fish on it. You can't claim a 3-fish ice flow or a 2-fish ice flow right off the beginning. You only get the ones with 1. And then after all the penguins have been placed on the board, then we'll take turns. And what you do on your turn is very simple. You move 1 and only 1 of your penguins, and then you claim the ice flow that penguin started on. And of course, the number of fish equals the number of points you get. And so how do you move? Well, here it is. You can move in a straight line as far as you want. The only rules are you can't jump over a penguin and you can't jump over open ocean space. And we'll see that as we get started. So Jen, why don't you zoom the camera in on this board a little bit, and let's go ahead and play a game of Hey, That's My Fish. While she's doing that, I'll mention that the other thing is this is designed by a Lithuanian designer, which was kind of great for us because that's our heritage. My grandfather was full-blooded Lithuanian, and our last name now is Charters, but used to be Čiurlionis, probably, I don't know, less than 100 years ago. So we're not even sure how it was changed from Charters to Čiurlionis, but it was. But that is our heritage, it's Lithuanian. All right, so Jen, I think youngest player goes first, so go ahead.
I'll place mine right here.
Okay, let me put on some glasses so I can see what I'm doing. All right, and notice as we place, we're only placing where there's 1 fish, but in proximity to where there's big scoring tiles of 3 fish if we can. But we also need to get a pretty good spread out a little bit so that we can cover all of the board and don't get ourselves cut off onto just one part of the board. Right, Jen?
Yep.
Okay, now all the penguins have been placed. So now we take turns moving penguins until there's no more legal moves. So Jen, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna start off by taking this first fish.
So she jumped right onto a 3 there that I was eyeing as well, because now she's blocked me from going there. So I'm gonna take this guy and bring him all the way to here. All right.
Now I'm going to move this guy right here. No, right here.
Okay. And you'll notice the open ocean spots are starting to pop up, which restrict our movement out here. And you can use these to try to cut people off from different areas of the board. So you need to be very careful and conscious of that when you're playing. So I'm going to come here.
Now I'm going to come and get this tile right over here.
Okay, another 3-fish tile, that's good. And we tend to play at a pretty basic level. Our strategy doesn't run too deep, does it, Jen? We just play to have fun, and we play quick rather than carefully and good, and we may be making suboptimal moves, but do we care?
Nope.
Not really. I don't care. Of course, I still do want to beat Jen, but hey, that's just how I roll, right? So now you see there's a bigger section of open ocean out here. So I'm in danger of being cut off on this little area.
Yes. I'm going to come over here.
All right.
Now I'm going to move this pig.
So what do you worry about more, Jen? Trying to go on land on 3 fish tiles, or just trying to cut off your opponent when you play? What are you most
Well,
concentrating on?
usually when I play this game, it's kind of different, but I actually try and get myself on an ice floe by myself, but it has enough fish to make up for the sacrifice they're losing the penguin, so.
Yeah.
But then other than that, I try and get as much fish as possible. So,
So do you think you're going to win this game?
you know, I don't know. This game has always been kind of iffy for me.
For me too. You never really have confidence that you're doing well in this game, do you?
Yeah.
Seems like you might be doing okay, but you might be getting crushed too. It's hard to know.
Definitely.
But that's what keeps it interesting. I was reading the rules and I found it interesting that he came up with this idea when he was going to do an artificial intelligence program for the computer, which he was thinking of algorithms for artificial intelligence, and he came up with this game. I found that kind of interesting. Let's see here. Oh my, suddenly I don't like the look of this. I'm realizing these two guys are well positioned and this guy can't block them both. He needs reinforcements. Okay, fine, let's do that.
Okay, so since I do not, I'm actually going to come here.
All right, so now this guy's officially cut off. He can never make it over there. But I can.
Now I'm going to go right over here.
All right. Now let's see. What to do.
And this is also the deluxe version.
Deluxe version.
Deluxe.
Did you say deluxe version?
Oops. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we have, personally, I like the deluxe. Deluxe?
Yeah, the deluxe.
I'm sorry. I can never say it right. But, definitely it's a good game.
Yeah, the tiles are a little different. And the main difference is these penguins are so awesome. They're really toys more so than just game pieces. It's really, really nice quality in the deluxe version, as Jim would say. Okay, which way to go with this now? That's the question. How to fight. Oh, I wanted to go here, and I see you beat me to the punch, so I'm going to come this way instead. I may live to regret that.
I'm going to come right over. Well, trying to think this through. Better come over here.
All right. This way.
And this guy's gonna come down here.
Yikes.
Oh. Gonna come over here.
Thing about this game, you get a sinking feeling when you realize your penguin's going to get stuck. Now these two ice floes are by themselves. No penguin can ever jump over open water to reach here, so these are just out of the game. We'll just toss them. Out of the game. Now you're trying to come into this space, so I better cut you off here, right? And how we play it is, once you're on a spot, like Jen's penguin here has claimed this tile, but there's no way for her to get any other tile, so she can just take this penguin out of the game and claim that tile now. And then for this guy, he's also on an ice flow unto himself, and he can get all these, so he claims all of these. And he's also out of the game. So that makes it a little quicker just to, when it's been determined. And see this guy? This is an interesting situation because he's on this ice flow by himself, but he can't claim them all because he either can go over here, in which case he'd be stranded, or he can go that way, so he would come this way and claim all these three. Those would be the greens.
This would float away.
That's out of the game, floating away, right.
And I can already tell I'm not winning, so I gotta step it up a little. So I'm gonna come right over here.
Okay, so she's making a fight for some of this. And I can't let her fight me too much on these. I gotta fight back, right? So I'm gonna come here.
I'm gonna cut them off here.
Okay. Okay, now let's just do this for the sake of time.
Okay, then I'm gonna come here.
This may look strange, but I'm gonna come this way.
Well, now that my penguin is stranded, I'm able to go here, then here, then here, then here. So
You got them all. Good job. But it's still your turn because that wasn't an actual turn. That was just picking that up.
okay, so
Although at this point it doesn't matter.
because both of
And
my
you get
cards-
both those, and you get both those, and I can get the rest of these. So that's how the game works. So let's just compare our stacks and just see who has more in the stack. Oh, so it's very close. I have 2 more tiles than Jen, so it's gonna come down to who has the more fish on their tile. So we'll put them in stacks of 10 is usually how we do it, right? Let's see here. Oops. So what do you like about this game, Jen, as you're counting? If you can count and talk at the same time.
I like to, this game's fun because I really love the penguins. And, I don't know, it's an interesting game. It's kind of about revenge almost because you just like want to cut them off so bad, but then you want to get more fish, and it's kind of you have to make a lot of decisions, but it's a fun game. So,
Jen, I think for you every game is about revenge.
yeah, most of the time.
No, I'm just kidding. But I think you're right. It is kind of if you played it that way, it could be a mean-spirited game, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But we don't play it that way. We usually play to have fun, and sometimes you can get a little feeling bad when you get cut off, but not usually. So how many points did you get?
I got 46.
Bad news. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 46. That was by 4 points, and I had 2 extra tiles. So it was very close. It was a toss-up, anybody's game. But what are your overall impression of this game? Would you recommend it to people looking for a game?
Yeah, I would, especially with people with kind of maybe 8 to 10 aged kids, because it's a very developing mind type of game because it gets them thinking. It's almost like a game of chess, but like because you're trying to cut off the people while at the same time trying to get more pieces on the board.
Yeah, it is like chess in that the rules are very basic. You can explain them in 10 seconds. But if you wanted to, you could think very deeply and think 3, 4 moves ahead. We don't generally do that, but it's possible if you had a desire to do that and really wanted to play it that way, it could be done. But we play it to have fun with the penguins and catch some fish. Yeah. And so what would you give the game as a rating if you wanted to rate it?
Well, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, it'd probably be on my range, maybe 3, 3.5. I'm not the typical like chess kind of player, so this is kind of an okay game for me.
And for me, I'd give it probably 3.5 or 4. And the reason I kind of would recommend it is its quickness. In other words, it's very easy to take, it's easy to set up and play. We introduced it to someone the other day. Do you remember when Isabella was here?
Yep.
And she had never played before, and she's a little younger than Jen, but she picked it up and I think had a really good time playing. So that is Hey, That's My Fish.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.